Hi everyone, hallo iedereen. Ik ben Ansha van Charlie's Angel Tarot on YouTube and Miwi and Buddayadvies on Facebook. And I'm going to do the next episode of Explanations of the Tarot. Or my explanation of the tarot. Ik ga de volgende aflevering doen van mijn uitleg over de tarot en zijn geschiedenis. Het wordt in Engels gedaan, als je het wilt volgen, kan je het volgen met de ondertiteling. Oké? If you speak a different language, then please switch on the subtitles and then you can choose the language of your choice from 190 different languages. This is my explanation and my vision on the tarot. And it will be on the Mythic tarot. Most of you will know it by now because it's going to be something like the sixth episode, but it will be the fourth card of the tarot, and the fourth card is the High Priestess. I'm going to tell you what I see in the card, and then I'm going to go deeper into the card to explain what the flowers mean, etc., etc. And what who the High Priestess is actually, and where she comes from in this deck, and why she represents this. And basically, in every deck, the High Priestess will most probably also represent this goddess. Okay, so bear with me. I'll try to talk as calm and fluent as I can, and here we go. Right, well, you can see here, I'll try to hold it as still as I can, and then I'll just drop it away. You can, why is she called the High Priestess? Well, she's called the High Priestess because she is mysterious, she's spiritual, she usually carries the Book of Wisdom with her, and she also represents the moon, and she's card 4, and 4 means stability. So here we have the numerology that you can use, and it's like the 4 of staves. You've got the 4 corners of the house. So 4 means stability, and it means also something is built on good foundations. So if you want to use the numerology, you can, but you see there's no number here. So in this deck, I wouldn't use it if I was the reader, because there's no number. But you know, the High Priestess is number 4. She's a slender, beautiful, slender, pale-looking woman. And I think she's a bit masculine in a way, because it looks like she's, yeah, I don't know, the eyes, I've got a feeling she looks a bit masculine. Just have a look at her face. She's not looking very happy, but she's supposed to be sensual and sexual, because she is a lady and she's a High Priestess, and she's in a beautiful white pale dress, and she's got a crown on her head, a golden crown, and she's a ethereal young woman. She's got pale skin, dark eyes, and her gown is voluptuous and luxurious, but still very, very plain. Perhaps you can see it. I wish I had a proper camera. I really do. She also holds a pomegranate in her right hand, and that's the forbidden fruit. I'll go more into the pomegranate later on, and you can see it's split open, but you'll have to look very, very careful, because I can hardly see it, so I hope you can see it. It shows seeds, and that means fertility. And she's also carrying white narcissus, and the white narcissus are the flowers of death, and I will go more into the narcissus as well. And you've got the white pillar and the black pillar, and to me that's the doorway to heaven, because the stairs goes up outside to the blue sky. Okay, and then you can see the river, and you see outside through the window, so that represents spring. I hope you can see that. It's quite a beautiful landscape. On either side, like I said, on either side there is a pillar, a black one and a white one, and this means duality contained within the underworld. Both creative potentials and destructive are hidden in the darkness of the unconscious. The back of her stairway, you can see the window, luscious green landscape which appears in the card of the Empress. It is actually quite luxurious and rich looking, although it's so simple. Okay, well, I'll go more into the card. I have to look at it myself as well, so I hope you don't mind looking at me. I've been when I'm doing a card, it takes me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to look at a card and to get information, feeling out, and then I can see more. And of course I do use the book a bit because I want to get the pagan side of it. The narcissus, the flowers that Persephone picked when Hades abducted her, because that's what the story is. We know the story, how she was abducted by Hades. That's the god of the underworld. Hold on. This flower represents death because of its pale color. You can see that it's white, creamy. It's quite different colors. It's ghostly. It also feels eerie, I find. It appears annually. As we know, it's an annual plant coming out from the winter. So it's coming out from the winter going into spring. So I'm going to read a little bit of the story, and that is here, I think. Hold on. Like I said, the narcissists means it's spring, because Persephone, she ruled only for 3 months alongside her husband, and then she had to leave the underworld, the dark world, to go to Demeter, and that was her mother, and she is the Empress. You know the story about when she was abducted by Hades and taken to the underground, and she was offered the pomegranate. I will go into the pomegranate in a minute. Then her mother became sad, and then she turned the whole country into like dark. Nothing would grow. She was so sad and so upset that her daughter was gone. But there was an agreement made with Hermes, or rather Zeus, that if the daughter came back for 9 months, then she would return in the winter, and that's why we have the seasons. So that's why I would take this card also as spring, if you want a time indication. And I'm going to read you a little bit, because otherwise it gets too heavy and too distorted for me to tell you. When Persephone comes back, she couldn't reveal secrets from the underworld, otherwise she would be punished. So she had to keep her darkest secrets from her mother, and about the land of the dead and the realm of Hades, and the full mysteries and riches that was ringed around her and in his world. You can also see the river at the back here, at the back. And then they also discussed the river Styx, over which no living man or woman could cross without the permission of Hades himself, although Hermes, the messenger of the gods, because Hermes, that was, I think, the fool. No, that was the magician. The magician was Hermes. He was loved and trusted by the dark world and the normal world. And he could cross because he had permission of Hades, and as Hermes was the messenger of the gods and guide of the souls, could usher through those exceptional heroes who had gained the gods' consent. Even the souls of the dead could not cross without paying a coin to Charon, and then we go back, this will come back with the Six of Swords, because that's the boat where Charon, apparently the man that carries people across the river, from when they've passed over to the other side. And that's why he's called the old fairy man who rowed the boat of passage across the Styx, for at the gateway to Hades realm crouched and terrifying three-headed dog Cerberus, who devoured any trespasser living or dead, who did not respect the laws of the invisible realm or the dark world. Thus, through eating the pomegranate, Persephone left behind her innocent childhood and became the guardian of the shadowy realm and custodian of its secrets. And that's why she is mysterious and spiritual, because she had a belief that when you eat pomegranates, that she would also that Hades thought that if he gave her pomegranates, then she would return, because that was the faith or the folklore in those days. Now I'll go more into the pomegranates now, but just to come back on the narcissus, I said they're usually used at funerals, or rather they look like ghostly flowers and they represent death. Perhaps that's why they are used so often at funerals, like lilies, the kelk, and they're in the Lenormand cards. So here you can also take the white and the black as death and life, bearing fruit and not being fertile and not being fertile. It's all wrapped up into this card, for example, in all the cards actually. But coming back to the pomegranate is the forbidden fruit in the world above. That's in the daylight, right? In the daylight. In the underworld, it's both the fruit of the dead, conjunctual and conjugal love. So conjunctual love is coming together, and that's why I said once you've eaten that fruit and you've partaken in that fruit, you cannot be separated anymore. That was the belief. Also because of the many seeds. Thus Persephone hidden the world. Persephone's hidden world is fertile and full of undeveloped creative potential and mystery and spirituality. So because the world, the underworld is dark, that's the dark side, it was all secrets, it was fertile, but you have to see it. That's why you have to listen to your intuition. It is undeveloped creative potential, and that's why it is so beautiful. So if you learn through meditation who you are, you will be developing that creative unknown potential. Persephone is also the queen of the underworld and the guide of the secrets, but she's also the daughter of Mother Earth, Demeter. we already know the story how she became the queen of the underworld, so I won't go too much into that. But once, like I've said, once you've eaten the forbidden fruit, the pomegranate, um, it is believed you would never leave. She would. In one book I read she would stay 6 months, and here it says that she stays 3 months of the year with Hades. And then I start thinking, okay, 3 months. She stays 3 months with Hades, so then that's why we have the 9 month cycle, so that would relate back to her mother, who's Mother Earth. And so there is only fertility early spring to late autumn, beginning winter. So here again, you can work with figures. Although she is card number 4, she stays away 3 months, and then pregnancy, because that's related to her as well and her mother, could be 9 months. So if somebody says, do you think I'll become pregnant? Then you can say, well, it can take anything from 3 to 9 months if you want to give a time indication. And because the pregnancy is 9 months, and 3 and 9 is 12, so make it a year. But I don't like making time or saying time, because time is man-made. Like I said, she could never speak about her secrets, so sometimes I get a feeling, and this is what I also say, she doesn't show the back of her tongue. That's what we say in Holland. That means that she keeps her mouth shut, quiet, and she will only say something when she has looked the cat out of the tree, when she's observed long enough to be wise enough, because like I said, she usually carries the book of wisdom, and some people call it the book of life, and she sits on a throne in other decks. So she has the wisdom, so she will or can give you answers, but the mystery about her is she won't give you an answer when you ask her. She will only do that when she thinks it's time to, and that's why she is so secretive. There's so much in this card. Even before I knew all these stories, I'm still learning a lot from these stories. I've been to Egypt, but you hear about Hero and Hermes and God, you name it, but it's only for that moment, and I lost it. And when I was younger at school, I learned a lot about the Greeks, but only perhaps 5% or 10% I remember. So I'm learning again, and it's nice. And I've just told you about the secrets for crossing the river. She could leave it because she had Hades, permission of Hades, to go to her mother. So she was free to go and to come and to cross the river Styx. And I told you about the dog with the 3 heads, that he would guard the borders of the kingdom of Hades. Because although she ate the pomegranate fruit, the forbidden fruit, it is considered to be a luxury in the underworld or the dark world. And she left once she had eaten that, she had left her innocence and behind her. The dark world shows only glimpses of patterns and moments, cycles. It needs patience and time before they are brought up to the daylight. So, like I said, your intuition, it means meditation, then you can get answers. There are unseen possibilities that haven't developed yet. And like I said, 9 months is like a child is also in the womb, and that's dark, and that takes 9 months. So all that time and and nurturing, growing, and that unseen potential that's also represented with her. Um, Seeds, like in the pomegranate, once a seed is sown, it takes time to be nurtured and loved and taken care of before it sees daylight. Here you can see the relationship between mother and daughter. The daughter has time away and the mother is waiting for her arrival back 3 months later, so she stays with her mum for 9 months. Persephone is the high priestess, the image of natural law, natural law at work, the depth within the soul, invisible source, which is revealed through intuition, feeling, and dreams, and meditation, and sitting peacefully. So even if I would give you this card, you've got the High Priestess, then I would say try to get to your inner self through meditation, taking time to rest. That's what this card can also mean. It also highlights the powers within us that we have, like intuition, dreams, and spirituality. And intuition means feeling, bringing the balance between heart and common sense or the brain. Um, Having balance within yourself, there again, the bad side, the dark side of you, and the light side of you. It might be, some people say that's the intuitive side, and the spiritual side could be, some people might prefer the occult side, but I don't like occult. Esoteric, and I think if I'm correct, esoteric means like reading the cards and doing the seances and things like that. But it can also, spiritualism can also be a faith, having faith in yourself, and then we're coming back to the intuition, the heart, and the common sense. Spirituality also means faith in, let's say, Catholic, Protestant, Buddhism, Muslim. So she represents also the secrets from other faiths, because if I'm Protestant, Catholic would be unknown to me, so that's dark. It's like a curtain. You just close the curtain and it's dark. So just open that curtain when the time feels right. That's what I would say. I think it's an amazing card, and how deep it goes, it's also unbelievable. So I hope you've enjoyed this explanation, and I hope you are a little bit more at ease when you see the High Priestess. You don't have to be scared of the tarot. You just have to learn to see things from a different perspective, like she does and she has, if you believe in the story, in the dark and the light. And she's able to live with it because Hermes or Zeus made a compromise with Hades and Demeter, her mother and her husband. I hope you've liked it. Take care and God bless. I'll see you in the live sessions, hopefully.